Hey, welcome everybody. This is Will from the Raiders. Coach Bradley, are you on the line?
Can you hear me?
We got you, Coach.
Okay.
Okay, guys, I'd like to introduce defensive coordinator Gus Bradley. We can open up with some remarks. And with questions, go ahead and raise your hands like we typically do. Okay, guys? All right. I'll let him take it away. Coach, looks like your video feature's not on.
Okay, how about now?
Gotcha. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. First of all, thank you for everybody showing up. I'm very excited about this opportunity. I know things have moved pretty fast since the end of the season, but had really a great visits with many people from the Raider organization, including Coach Gruden himself and many of the staff. So just first of all, I want to appreciate the opportunity to be a Raider now, and excited about the future and what it brings.
Hey Gus, it's Tashawn Reed from The Athletic. You've been known as a cover 3 guy pretty much since your Seattle days. How do you think, obviously you're just getting started, but how do you think the Raiders personnel fits that scheme?
Well, it's a great question. You're right. I think the basis is a lot of cover 3, but I think it's evolved since Seattle. When we went to Jacksonville, there's things that we incorporated. And then once we went to the Chargers too. So I think it's more multiple than maybe the days, the Seattle days. So, but it really revolves around looking at the personnel that we have and then, putting guys in position to where they can make a lot of plays and position them to where they have the ability to make plays. So, that's a task that we'll look at in the next month or so, really evaluate our personnel. Obviously, you're familiar with some of the guys, but I think to be true to everybody, to really sit down and watch film before we talk really candidly about each player is important.
Hey, Coach, Jerry McDonald from the Bay Area News Group. I was curious as to what 4 years as a head coach did to you as a coordinator. Did it change you in terms of your outlook and how you looked at things and how you?
That's a great question. Now, I think it has. Because when you're a head coach, you're involved in many of the offensive meetings. You're sitting in with the offensive personnel and offensive staff, and you're hearing how they game plan, how they do it by formations, what formations they think best attack this style of defense. So I think in many ways it was beneficial. It did give me a different view of how to look, maybe how defenses are attacking us or offenses are attacking us.
Hey, Coach, congratulations. This is Chris Matthews, KLAS TV here in Las Vegas. I've never met anybody from, is it Zambroto before?
Yeah, you probably won't either. It's pretty small. But
where the past bridges the future. I love it. Hey, let me ask you a little bit.
No, there's some good people there, though. Maybe you should go visit there sometime.
Well, it's a town of 3,000, so you got to know everybody.
Oh, that's great.
Can I just ask you a little bit about what kind of attracted you to this position? What attracts you to this whole defense, and just your conversations with Gruden preparing for this job, and what kind of sold you on the opportunity here in Vegas?
Right. Well, it all started. Obviously, Coach Gruden and I have that experience together when we were together at Tampa. I was fortunate that he hired me from North Dakota State, both him and Monty Kiffin, and Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we got you, Coach. We got you.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, for some reason, I can't see you. Are you there still? Okay.
Yeah, we're here. We can hear you.
Okay.
Looks like you shut off your video, though, Coach.
Let me see here. How about now?
Perfect.
Okay. So sorry about that. But yeah, so we've known each other for quite a few years during that time. But and we stayed in contact, when we see each other at the combine. But what I was really impressed was when I came in here to interview, it was just the vision that Coach had. And I had a chance to meet with with Mark Davis, he was in on the interview and shared his vision. And to hear Jon Gruden's vision, Mike Mayock's vision, it was something that was very good for me to hear and to see just how they are so closely related. And it was just a very, very positive experience.
Yes, it's Josh Gibao from Associated Press. Just wondering, some defensive coaches have the philosophy of building from the line back and some from the secondary up in terms of how they want their defense. Do you have a philosophy on that and just how you want to build a defense?
Well, I think that it had the ability in Tampa really started off coaching the linebackers and played a secondary in college. But I know really where it all starts is up front. And I think that's first and foremost, to get things right up front and, and then fill it in everywhere else. But you need quality players at each group, at each level to be successful in the NFL. And then, the ability to really communicate that information to them so it truly looks like football.
Welcome to Vegas, Gus. Leva Edwards from Raiders.com. Being on the outside looking in for 3 years with the Chargers, what would you say has been the strengths of the Raiders defense? And are you excited about working with them?
Well, I would say this, to be honest with you, you don't spend a lot of time watching the other side's defense. The offense, the Raiders offense, have had a chance to look at them for the last 3 years, 6 times that we played each other. So, but I do know this, that the Raiders, when we prepare for them, when we talk about the Raiders as a team, we know that they play extremely hard and with great effort. And that's what I know every week in, week out when we played them during those times. That's what you saw on tape. I think as far as for me as a defensive coordinator, watching the offense, I've just seen it grow the last 3 years, the offense. I think that, they're getting pieces in place, but really just how the offense has evolved. And it's a very difficult offense to get a feeling for how they're going to attack you as a defense because they're very multiple. And I think they do a really good job of utilizing their talent. So, I'm more familiar with the offensive side and been very impressed with that. I know they've got a lot of skilled players, a lot of talent up front. And it's always a challenge to game plan. And then defensively, just that their ability to play hard and they make plays. They were making plays at critical times. And if you can do that as a defense consistently, you've got a chance.
Hi, Coach. Congratulations. This is Anthony from the Fresno Bee. You just talked about vision just a minute ago. Just curious, what is your vision for this for your new defense, and what do you want to see from the players? I know it's early, but just have you thought about that yet?
Sure. Yeah, I think that the style that you should see is a team that plays with great effort, great enthusiasm, great toughness, and a defense that plays smart. That is our key. That's the style when people talk. Now, if you just said, hey, what is our non-negotiables? That is fast, physical, and we've got to find a way to get the ball. And we got to set up opportunities for the offense to score, give them possessions. And every call that we design is really even if it's just a 3D, like you say, or man coverage, we want the players to have the mindset that every call that we have is designed to get the ball. And it's very important the communication that takes place within the defense. We're going to add defenses. We're going to be very multiple, but not at the expense that we don't play fast. That's first and foremost.
Hey, Gus, Vinny Bonsignore with the Las Vegas Review-Journal. I'm sure part of the process in talking to John was, articulating your plan for getting the current players from point A to B to C, and so on and so forth. They've made a lot of investments in draft picks, free agency, in getting some pieces in place. From what you've seen in the short film work or whatever that you've done looking at this defense, what is your plan for getting some of these younger players, Cleve Farrell, Damon Arnett, Trayvon Mullen, Jonathan Abram, up to speed and to that next level? Well, I think first and foremost is to build what obviously the previous staff has done here. I mean, you're doing a great job with fundamentals and things like that, and then you involve a new system. What I would say is it is a system now we have in place, and there's things that are non-negotiables, but we also don't want our players to be robots. There's things that we do that we feel strongly about, and it's really based on fundamentals and things like communication, fundamentals, tackling,
guys get off, up front with the defensive line. So there's some non-negotiables like that. It's an exciting defense to play, and I would say that the players will be very excited to be a part of it because they know that they're going to have the ability to play fast. And I think as our job as coaches is really to evaluate the players and then put them in position to where they can make plays. And like I said, for me to be fair to the players, that's what's going to take place the next month or so. We're going to be heavy in tune to it. I'm excited about a guy, Coach Rod Marinelli is going to be a part of this staff. And he was another big reason why this was so important, I think, to take a look at this opportunity. I've got great respect for Coach Marinelli, and he'll be a great sounding board along with, guys like Travis Smith in understanding some of the personnel things. But as coaches, you got to, watch the tape and formulate your own opinions as well.
Hey, Coach, Jerry McDonald again from the Bay Area News Group. There's still no telling how much you're going to actually get hands-on with these guys in the off-season. All that stuff's got to be worked out. Practice time is more scarce than it's ever been. I'm curious as to whether you think your defense is an easy defense to learn. Can you play fast, or are you trying to make sure that it's quick enough so that they can play fast?
Yeah, I would say this: I think back when it all started, a little bit of history when we were at Seattle, when we, there's some of us that came up and went into a room and kind of designed it. There's always things that are copied, but the foundation of the defense really, when it was brought to our attention, was try to design something that allows young players to come in and play early. It's not a defense that you're going to come to us and say, I need this 12-year veteran, I need this 13-year veteran, because, they're the ones that understand the system. And it wasn't brought up in that fashion. So we knew we had to design something that players could learn and understand. And maybe it was simplified for them and makes it hard on offenses. And that was the whole idea behind it. So, back in the day, that's why you saw Earl Thomas come in and play early, Cam Chancellor, Richard Sherman, Bobby Wagner. These were young players that played early. So it is a big part of it. We try to design it so players have a chance to come in and play early. But yet, just like anything, there's, defenses, you've got to be multiple. And you can't sit in one thing or two things the whole time and allow offenses just to tee off. So there's some things to it, but I think really what's heavy on it is the fundamental part of it. That's the detail that comes into it.
Coach, it's Ed Graney from the Review Journal in Las Vegas. You talked about going and getting the ball, and obviously their takeaways have not been what Jon has wanted in 3 years, and I assume that comes down to players and talent. But are there other ways in your career you can see where those things can be created more to make it easier on a defense with the takeaways?
Well, it is. I've been a part of defenses where, you've done really well in getting takeaways, and then the next year you emphasize the same things and you're not quite as productive. So it's still, like I said, it comes down to make sure the calls give players opportunity to get the ball out. And then there's a mindset to go get the ball and not miss any opportunities. And these are things we preach every week, every day in practice. Every rep is, about tackling. Every rep is about getting the ball. And it's kind of a mindset that we're trying to develop with the players. And, and also I think there's innate ability. There's guys that, in college, they have a tendency to get the ball. They're ball hawks. And a lot of times that transfers over when they come into the NFL. So, I think it's important to have guys that have that mindset, as well as I believe it can be developed.
Let's do 3 more questions, guys. We'll go Cassie, Sam, and then Chris.
Hi, Coach. Cassie Soto with the Las Vegas Review Journal. What were some of the major selling points to accept this position, and how excited are you to get to the city of Las Vegas?
Very excited. It wasn't hard. First of all, you're sitting in a meeting with Coach Gruden, who's awesome. And then we had, Mark Davis in there, Rod Marinelli, multiple other guests that came in there, stopped by. So you could just get a feeling that, they're all in this together. And like I said earlier, there's the same vision. And then excited about, being a part of the Raider tradition. I grew up in Minnesota. I remember in the Super Bowl, the Vikings game, so there's a long history of having great respect for the Raiders organization and the tradition. And it's, the fans, the history. iconic organization that's known all over. So to be a part of that, and obviously winning is extremely important. And as a coach, to come into a situation where winning is that important, that's all you can hope for. And this shares the same philosophy as you do. So, and then the Vegas part of it, I mean, you hear so many good things. It really is. When you talk to coaches that are here, and there's not one negative thing about being in Vegas. It's all positive. So, I mean, we could feel it even when I was part of the Chargers, driving up to the stadium to see where the stadium's located. And there was fans outside in the parking lot, even though they couldn't go in the building. And so I don't know. It's just something I think we're all very excited about. The people here have been outstanding and really can't look forward to the first day.
Sam, is it me or you, Sam? Me?
Chris, go ahead. Yep, Sam dropped off.
Oh, I'm sorry. So, Coach, can I just ask you a little bit about when you look at the building blocks to make this a defense that you want it to be? How far away? I mean, how far away are you? Do you kind of get a sense of that we need this, and this to get where I need to be?
Well, I think that it'll be interesting to see. It'd be nice. I wish I could just tell you, okay, here's what we need to do, and here's how we got to get better. But really, I think everybody's going to have to improve. Coach Gruden and I talked about this. The way you see really great growth in a unit is when it's extremely uncomfortable. And I think that's the challenge that every player, every coach needs to feel, is that uncomfortable piece of it, to know that, hey, we got to all take our game to the next level. And I really believe the players, they're hungry to do that, and they want to get that done. But, obviously it starts up front. You need to be able to affect the quarterback. When you look at stats year in and year out, they say, if you stop the run, if you're in the top 5 stopping the run, does that give you a great chance to make in the playoffs? But really the stat that's consistent is the ability to affect the quarterback. If you can affect the quarterback, you got a good chance to help your team, make it to that level that you're all shooting for. And then, what goes on from there. So, that's why I think up front is so important. And I think there's pieces in place there. But to give you a fair assessment, I'd really like to have a chance to really watch the film, because sometimes in a system, they're going to play differently. There might be guys that played on the closed side, and we're going to ask them to play on the open side, and sometimes you can see great improvement just because of that. So, we'll evaluate everybody, but I am excited. I know there's a hungry group of guys, and they want to get better. Now, this is being passed on from Coach Gruden and the guys that I met with, but you can tell, when you see him play and Coach Marinelli talk about all the players and how much passion he has for them, I know this is a great group to start with.
Hey, Gus, just wondering how much leeway you're going to have in terms of building your staff. If there's anybody already that's part of that that you're bringing over with you, or current coaches on the staff in terms of their status.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, there's some staff members here that I would still like to visit with, and check with them and see how they are and their feelings and where they're at with the process. Obviously, I felt like we had a tremendous staff with the Chargers. I mean, at all positions, it really was. I really enjoyed it, and as many of those guys that we can bring, if there is spots that are open, that's always something that you take a look at. But there's some very good, like I said before, guys like Rod Marinelli. Rod Marinelli and I didn't get a chance to work together at Tampa, but I sure heard a lot about him. And there's so much respect for him and what he brings, not only on the field, but just developing coaches and developing players and the mindset. So, we're going to put together a really good staff, and it's going to be a staff that really we each can grow from each other on it.